Well, good evening, everyone.
What's going on, everybody? I got a little extra bass in my voice tonight.
You've done that a couple of times here lately.
I have, man. I have.
It's that time of year, man.
It is. It does a number on me.
It's this wonderful weather we're experiencing right now.
Yeah. It's we go from like 20 to got up to 70 or something. I had to turn my air on in the house.
The last two times I think I've fed hay on the tractor, I've had to turn the air conditioner on the tractor, which tractors
they get
mad
hot.
about. Yeah, because all that glass, that sun, it's just sun, it can be, just a decently warm day outside, and 60 degrees, but you got to run the air conditioner in the tractor because it's like a little oven in there.
Yeah. I'll never forget. We were working a farm. This was back when Frankie was still alive, and I was helping them. We were all kind of helping them, and they had an 8310R, one of the first R model tractors that came out. It's like a 2010 or two. I don't remember which year. It was 09, 2010 time frame. The air went out in it, and I was pulling like the turbo till or something with it. And those tractors, there is no little windows to open.
Right, you just got to open the back glass, I guess. Or
you couldn't even do that because you could, but it's such a big glass that it's like rattling.
Oh, yeah.
And you're scared you're going to bust it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to stop. I bet it was 120, 130 degrees inside there because it was in the middle of summer.
Well, see, my Kubota that I have right now is like that. There's only 4 pieces of glass in the tractor. There's the big back glass, the front glass, and the 2 doors on the side.
Yeah.
My previous Kubota had
little
in
windows.
The corners. Yeah, it had. So I guess it would have been 6 glasses in it. You could pop those open. Oh, it's amazing how much airflow you get.
Yeah.
Like just a warm winter day where now I'm having to run the AC. Yeah, you pop that open. That's plenty.
Yep.
But I've had air conditioning trouble with my tractor. Compressor went out, and you can't. I remember I was trying to bush hog, so I didn't really want the back glass open anyway.
Yeah.
Cause,
something fly up in there.
Yeah. But like every now and then I would just have to open it up for like 30 seconds just so I wouldn't suffocate.
Yeah. And, I swear, like that's what I got to thinking when I was running that for a little while. I was like, my brain is probably cooking
that's
right now.
Why I like a lot of the old tractors, you see the glass is knocked completely out of them.
Yeah.
Just because either they couldn't get the AC fixed or they just didn't want to spend the money, and you cannot go without.
Yeah.
Not during the summertime for sure.
Yeah. Well, I had something crazy happen today. And I will go ahead, like I said, I'll apologize ahead of time. If I cough, probably going to cough a couple times. I got me a cough drop and got another one here with me. But I had to get a new phone because I had busted the screen on mine, which is crazy, man. I ordered this phone 2 days ago. I got online and I just ordered it because I don't like it. If you go to Verizon or wherever, they make it, you can't just pay for a phone outright. They want to put it on the bill so that they can charge you monthly. I don't like that. I want to be able to just pay for it. I don't want my bill to go up. So I ordered it online. You can pay it outright. Ordered straight from Samsung. I got this thing like 18 hours later. It was the craziest shipping I've ever seen in my life.
That's the way Amazon used to be.
Yes. Yeah.
I always would get amazed by that. Like you could order something on Amazon on a Sunday and you'd have it on Monday. And I'm like, how does that even happen? Like I didn't figure. I mean, I know they obviously have people working 7 days a week. But
yeah.
I figured it wouldn't even ship out until
they got
Monday.
Some dude with a bullwhip like, yay, like as soon as the order comes through.
But that was pre-COVID. Now you order something and just like a week later you get it.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why I was so shocked. Like I was like, I saw FedEx or somebody setting something outside, and I walked out there and I saw the box had the little battery warning, and I was like, dang, is that my phone already? It was. So the funny part was I went out to my Traco today. I was going to put a little oil in it, check it out, and my service kept dropping. Somebody was trying to call me. My phone would drop, and it would go from like 4G to nothing, 4G to nothing. And I was like, what the crap? And so it was about lunchtime, so I said, I'll run over here to Millington, go to the Verizon store. This is completely not ag-related, but it was the most bizarre thing I have ever walked into, so I have to share this. And I guess it shows the times we live in. So I get to Verizon, and my phone is working great at this point because it swaps to 5G, and it's like killing it. So I'm like, man, what the crap? But I walk into Verizon. All right, there's 2 dudes and 2 chicks in there. The dude, and like our show is not politically correct. The guy that works there is
working there.
There was a dude that worked there and a chick that worked there.
Okay.
And then there was a customer dude and a customer chick.
Were the customers together?
No, they were separate.
Okay.
And so I walk in and they're sitting over there with their customers, and I'm kind of looking around because it's kind of awkward. Like the one in Millington, I don't ever go to that one, but like you walk in and there's like nowhere to sit except way over here on the far wall or the tables where they're helping people. So I'm not going to go sit right there. So I just kind of looking at the different cases and stuff. And the dude comes, like, he walks over to get a case, and I'm just standing there, and he goes, and he's flaming, man. He's queerer than a $3 bill. Got a nose ring. Like, he ain't hiding it. Hey, whatever. But he looks at me and he's like, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, my phone keeps dropping service." And I kind of explained what it was doing, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, man, it could be a number of things."
Yeah. And
that was like the end of what he said. And I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "Yeah, man, I hate to tell you that, but
well, I'm here for you to fix it."
Yeah, I said, "Well, so I mean, can you look at it and try to figure out why?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we can when we finish up with these other customers." And I said, "Okay, that's fine. I have to have my phone. I have to have service." And so he's like, "Okay, all right." So he goes and sits down. This is when it takes a turn that I was not expecting. So he was waiting on this woman who is probably in her mid-30s, not a bad-looking gal. The other chick is waiting on the dude. And I'm like, my phone's working now, so I'm texting. I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention. The chick that he's waiting on goes, she looks at the other girl and she says, "Yeah, I'm in a polyamorous relationship." And
just unsolicited, just
there's
that information out. Or?
Yeah, I don't know if they know each other, but she says, "So yeah, I'm in a polyamorous relationship." Which I'm like,
which it is key to the story. You said this is a relatively attractive young lady.
Yeah. It was key. Yeah, like if it had been like a big fatty, I'd have been like, I'd have probably started chuckling. But no, this was like, she was an attractive woman. So like immediately then my ears perk up and I'm like, what? Like, and so the other chick, she's like,
and just because I'm maybe the ignorant person, polyamorous means just.
I'm getting there. You'll hear what it is.
Because I'm not.
Trust me,
I'm going to Google what exactly the definition is.
That's what I was doing.
I think the definition is, but okay, go ahead.
I actually started to do that too. I was like, polyamorous. I was like Googling it, it's kind of scared to Google it. And then she asked the chick, she goes, "Do you know what that is?" And the girl was like, I don't think I do. I'm not sure, but I know what that is. And she said, "It means that we have multiple sexual partners." She said, "We bring in, like, sometimes it'll be a woman, sometimes it'll be a dude." She said, "We just bring in partners."
Does she have a husband or just a boyfriend? Or
I don't know. I never heard that much, okay. But I did it sounded like she probably has a man. I don't know if he's boyfriend, whatever, but she's definitely into chicks, because then she started talking about the type of woman that she's into. And the whole time, I mean, I'm just shell shocked. Like, I'm standing over here. I finally go and sit down way over there, because I'm just like, what in the hell did I walk into? I'm like, man, for all they know, I mean, I went in there, I had on blue jeans, I had a Magpool shirt on. Like, I mean, and I pulled up in my service truck. So, I mean, they probably don't think much like about it. But at the same time, I'm like, hell, I could be a preacher or something for all they know. Oh,
they don't care.
No, they don't. Well, because then the customer service even gets better. The chick finishes helping that guy. Oh, and the whole time, actually, then the little gay dude goes over there. He's talking to her, and he starts saying, "Do you mind if I ask you some questions about your relationship?" Oh, and she's like, "No, go right ahead." And he's like, "Well, I've been cheated on so many times." And I'm like, "Good God, I got to get out of this place." And so they're like talking, and so the chick finishes helping this other person. I get over there. She's like, "How can I help you today, sir?" So I go over there and I'm just like, my phone. I tell her what's going on.
You didn't ask her for like relationship advice?
No. And she had I will say she had like a black eye. She had a gash above this eye. So I don't know what was going on with her.
You didn't start out by saying I'm in a monogamous relationship.
No, I should have said, I do want to add, I am in a completely monogamous relationship. I am a man of faith. I'm in a very weird place in this place right here. Like I feel a little out of place. So anyway, she kind of goes through, she said apparently one of their towers was down over in the Bolton area where I was working. So I was like, okay, good. And she goes, yeah, I live over there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just working on some stuff over there. And she's like, yeah, I live right around in this area. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. And she said, I got a call when I get out of here and make sure service is up because I have got to get a better effing job. And I'm just like, oh, all right, okay. Yes, yeah, I hear you. Like, I just know, I was just speechless. I mean, as much as I like to talk, I was truly speechless. Like normally I'll make small talk. Nah, I did not. I was just like, yeah, all right. I was just like, get me the hell out of here. And so I got out of there. That was it. I finished up. She was like, yeah, the tower's messed up, whatever. So I was like, all right, good deal. Well, it's not my phone. I'm all right. No, skedaddled out of there. It was the most bizarre conversation I have like walked into, and it just really blew me away in a public place. Well, I will add, when the chick said, I'm in a polyamorous relationship, the other girl did say, well, it's 20. She said, what is it? And when she told her multiple partners, she goes, well, it's 2023. So, and I was just thinking, I'm like, it is 2023 around here.
We have clients that share too much with us on occasion. And it's, I'm really good, I feel like anyway, about having a poker face about it, where like very little like completely catches me off guard. I can usually just kind of roll on with it.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Dealing with people, you run into stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I did have one response that popped in my head that I could have never said, but I sure did. I was like, thought about it. I can't even say it on the air here, but I will allude to what it is. I know you've seen Predator.
Yeah.
All right. You probably don't remember this, but in the beginning of the movie, Jesse Ventura is trying to give him chewing tobacco in the helicopter. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember what he calls all of them?
Slack-jawed.
Yeah, I mean, I have the video of it on my phone. I send it quite often as a meme.
Yeah.
And yeah, he goes, everybody turns down the chewing tobacco. And he said, it's a bunch of slack-jawed poop around here. And it's a slang term for a homosexual.
Yeah, derogatory term.
So that was because apparently the dude was without question gay. The woman was into men and women, and the way the other chick was talking, whichever way the wind blows, she'll go. So I was like, I might be the only hetero around this place.
Yeah. Well, it is 2023.
So yeah, there's y'all an interesting, even in our little small town, which I was in Millington, but still like.
Oh, dude, that's, yeah. I mean, like I say, I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to what other people want to do. Man, long as you're not involving little kids or anything completely out of bounds like that, consensual adults.
I just don't want to hear about it.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I don't need to hear about it, and I may not agree with it, but like, whatever.
In a public, like in a business space, I was thinking the whole time, like, this is insanely unprofessional.
Right. Because like you said, because I mean, sometimes I have discussions with clients and like, well, they may cuss, for instance. And like, I'm not offended by cussing. Obviously, we don't necessarily hold back here, but like sometimes I have a young lady in the room with me that's my assistant, and it's like, all right.
And you're like, you watch your damn mouth.
Well, I mean, there have been times when, people get ugly with it, and I've had to tell people you can't come back because the way you're talking to us.
Yeah.
And usually it's not that they're cussing, it's that they are cussing us. And
yeah,
buddy. I got a line of people waiting to get in and see us. So if you're going to be a jerk,
you won't be missed.
Yeah. If you're going to be a jerk, we will gladly
Yeah.
refer you elsewhere.
Yeah. No, and I agree. Yeah, that's how and that's what, for a second, I got concerned because a woman and a little girl came walking down the thing, and I was like, for the love of God, don't come in here. It's like what I was thinking, but luckily they didn't. But and that's what I kept thinking. I was like, gosh, you might have to. We went to a tractor pull one time years ago. You know the guy. He's very stern. He actually goes to church. He's good friends with my dad. And he takes no crap from anybody. And just a blue collar hard dude. He's in his late 60s now. We were at a tractor pull, and the dude behind us, it was me, my dad, and him. And then people around. There was some young guys behind us. Man, they were cussing like sailors. I didn't think nothing about it, but
there's some families
around. This is a tractor pull, and he turns around and he goes, "I've done had enough of your mouth." The guy's like, "What?" And he goes, "I said I done had enough of your mouth." He said, "I don't like the way you're talking." He said, "There's family around here, and you're just cussing." He said, "I'd appreciate it if you watched your mouth." He said it just like that. I'll never forget. It was one of the coolest moments to me because I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. And the dude was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was weird. It was very weird.
There's a time and a place when it's okay to use adult language, and in a public setting with women and children around, I would say is
not a good one.
Yeah, not a good one. So.
Yeah. Well, real quick, so we're going to get into my crop goals, but I had a story I wanted to share with you a little bit. This is about a year old, but you've heard of the cattle con man? Conned about $100 million out of beef.
Was that one in Washington?
Let me see. His name's Tony Lyons.
Was it in Washington State?
Well,
there have been some.
No, this was in North Texas.
I don't know that I'm familiar with that one specifically.
Well, he was basically what it was doing. He was just, it sounds really stupid, really simple, but he was telling them that he had about tripled the head of cattle that he did. He was running a lot of cattle, apparently. He was managing 3 separate cattle operations. And the first one, he said, had 17,000 head of cattle, when they said in reality it had 5,000. The next one, he said, had 7,000, and it had 3,000. And then the other one he was claiming had 1,600, and it had 1,000. So he was just claiming that he had way more, and he was using that as a leverage to get big lines of credit and stuff.
Borrowing against it, yeah.
And it made me think about a farmer that we both know that did the same thing. He just in a different manner with row cropping. He's dead. So I feel, I feel all right discussing. I'm not going to say his name, but I'll never forget. He died, and the bank contacted, I ended up talking to one of the bankers over it because there was some equipment I was interested in, and we had been kind of talking about buying it from him. Well, then he died. Well, the banker is like, he starts asking me where the equipment is. And I said, it's at so-and-so. And then he says, okay. And he starts naming off the equipment that he has. And he's like, so this is there, this is there, this is there. And it was some pieces of machinery that I had never seen. And I was like, man.
He had sold probably years prior.
Probably 15 years prior, and never updated his bank note or anything. And
was still borrowing against that.
Yeah, they were using that. And so.
It's collateral, yeah.
So that's a good point to make here, guys. If you do get an operation going, keep your financial sheet updated, because it didn't hurt this guy because he was dead when they found out, but the guy was like, the banker was like, what the crap?
Some of that,
his fault.
Well, the bank's fault.
Yes.
You should be following up on this. So the cattle con man, was it the bank that he conned?
I think that's what ultimately got him. I was kind of skimming through because I actually just found it earlier. they said he ended up getting it to a point. The 3 farm operations there got him in jail. He got caught on those, and he ended up going to jail for 34 months, it said, and he was paying $6 million in like restitution or whatever. Well, they said as soon as he got out, he just immediately went right back to doing what he was doing, and he linked up with some big cattle operations. I mean, I think they said that they were supposed to be running around 50,000 head of cattle. And they said he was running a line of credit for like $100 million. And he wrote a check for $5 million or something. And that check is what, I guess, pinged. And then they like opened an investigation, which they said once the investigation started, they caught him pretty quickly, because it's like, but the way he was doing it with the banks, I think on the 50,000, he was getting a line of credit from like 3 different banks for the same cattle, and he would just schedule the banks to come at separate times to look at them. So they would, like, one bank would come and see the cattle and be like, okay, there they are. Well, then the next day he'd have the next bank come and they'd be like, okay, there they are. And he just kept doing that until he had just this astronomical line of credit.
Which when people do that, which I don't know because I'm not a con man, but you have to know that it's rent's going to come due eventually, or
that's what I would think.
Like it can't go forever. Like you're eventually going to run out of road. I mean,
yeah, that's what I would think. I mean, it's just.
Well, I ran in similar, not nearly that scale, but a friend of mine this past weekend, I was talking to him. We got talking. I bought some cattle from this guy, and somehow we got on the subject of those cattle. He's like, man, he said, I wish you'd bought more from me. He said, I sold some to a guy. He said, ended up, I won't discuss exact figures, but it was about 5 figures that worth of cattle that he bought from him, wrote him a bad check.
Dang.
But in hindsight, like he could see, it's like, man, he timed it all perfect where it was late in the day after the bank had closed by the time he finally wrote me the check. When I called him like the next week, after, I found out the check wasn't any good. He was like, oh, he had excuses. It went on for about 2 weeks, and before he finally realized, he's like, yeah, this dude's like totally ripped me off. And of course, he had already turned around and sold the cattle again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And,
Is there anything he can do?
Well, the guy actually did some jail time over it.
Oh, really?
But he said he's got judgment on him, I guess, where he can, I don't know if it's garnish his wages or whatever, if that guy ever has anything. But he's like, but I hadn't seen a single cent out of this. And he's like, and I'm probably not. And it was weird. Like, there was all kinds of nuance and detail to it. But he's like, I found the cows, like the guy that eventually ended up with them. But had gone into another state and were sold there. He's like, if they had stayed in the state, I think he might have been able to even potentially get the cows back. Oh. And then, he would have had a right to them. And then the other guy that had been scammed, whatever.
Would he get reimbursed, I guess?
Or it would have been up to that guy to then try to get his money back or whatever. But he was like, I've kind of got screwed. He was like, here I found them. Like, they were essentially stolen from me, but I can't even get them back. Oh man, it's a mess. And
that is.
I mean, it wasn't enough money to where he's going to go bankrupt. But I mean, it's
that's still
chunk
several.
Of change that anybody would have missed. And man, and he's like, I'm still trying. Like, I've still got judgment against him or whatever where I can do that. But he said and following up, he said he talked to one guy. It was like a friend or an acquaintance, this fella, and he's like, man, he said, I'll tell you this. He said, if he does somehow come up with the money to give you, he said, it's because he screwed somebody else out of it. He said, that guy ain't got a dime to his name.
Damn.
I was like, man. But it just reminded me of that. Like, I was just having that conversation with somebody the other day. So, yeah, you can't trust anybody.
Oh, you can't. Well, that's...
people you don't know.
I'm leery. I mean, I've listed farm equipment for sale. I sold a header and other things. Like, I'm always leery when somebody, wants to buy it. And I'm like, well, that's what the point of this is. Like, when I sold a semi-truck one time, I had them meet me at the bank. I was like, we'll go to the bank. And I did. Now it's digital age. I get texts. I had a sprayer listed for sale. I had a guy text me. He said, which there's usually a lot of times the mass scams are kind of obvious. Like, it'll be Like this guy was like,
oh, if you've ever tried to sell anything on Craigslist, you've been contacted by a scammer,
yeah,
and stuff like that.
Well, that's what I had this guy over my sprayer. He reached out and texted me, and he said, "Hey, interested in the sprayer? The price seems all right. Okay with the price." Or he said, "Are you firm on the price?" And I just said, "Yes, I need to get what I got." And he was like, "Price is okay. That's fine." And he said, "Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm out of town currently."
Yeah,
And he said, "I'm gonna
immediately just when you're back in town, just let me know."
Yeah, he said, "I'm gonna send you the check. Have the moving guys come. The check will." I will not have the movers show up until the check clears. Like he had all these things in place, and
you're like, no.
Well, I said, I just kind of was like, let's see how far I can take this one. So I said, well, what's your bank? Where do you bank at? I said, what's your information? And he sent me kind of a broad name, and then he didn't really specify a bank. And I said, well, where do you bank at? I said, because I got to cover my bases. I said, where do you bank at and what's your name? So I can contact the bank and verify that the funds are there. And that's something you can do if somebody's serious about doing it. And then I never heard back after that. So I was like, there you go. Yeah. It drives me nuts, the scams. Like you just can't, you can't trust anything. I mean, a lot of times it'll be cash and it's like, well, I can't, when you get up to like a sprayer or something, if you're going to spend 60, 70 grand, it's kind of hard to take them cash.
Oh yeah. Well, and unfortunately, like in ag, because a lot of times we're selling stuff, just off the farm, I guess we're kind of prime for that kind of thing. And so there,
we're probably trusting.
Yep.
Say a lot of ag guys are trusting.
Have I ever told you about me at the cattle sale when they stopped the sale? So I was in our general area, but I was buying that day, and I wasn't buying a huge number, but
just about 500 head, 600 head.
No, I needed to buy like 12 or 15 more head to make for my full truckload.
Yeah,
and so I was going to spend like $8,000 or $10,000, and my farm checking account, I don't keep a lot of money in there, one because I don't make a lot of money in it, but I have a line of credit, and so typically, like I was going to buy I don't know how much money I had in my account that day, but not enough to cover the cattle that I was going to buy that day.
Yeah,
but I had a line of credit that had plenty of money, and what I do as soon as I see how much I've spent, I call and tell them to transfer from my line of credit into that account. Boom, it's there. Whatever, those are the gory details, but. So when I got there, they're like, all right, you're buying, like, and they wanted my bank information. So I gave them my bank information. I wasn't buying $100,000 worth of cattle. I didn't really expect they would check, like it was going to be. Well, as soon as I bought like enough cattle to go over whatever amount I had in my checking account, they like stopped the sale and they're like, hey, we need to see you down here in the office. I was like, oh, what?
They stopped the sale?
They're like, we called your bank. You ain't got enough money in your account to cover this. I was like, well, you're right. Like I don't, but like
I've got a line. I
was like, yeah, like hell if I'd known it was going. So it was kind of embarrassing for me, and they felt real bad. The guy that actually owns the sale barn called me the next day. He's like, man, I'm sorry about that. I was like, hey, no, I understand.
You got to cover your bases.
I'm sure y'all probably been taken advantage of before. He was real. He's like, next time, because they're not. Hell, I've talked about it on here. We don't have any sale barns right here. Like, next time you're over here, like. Hey, like I want to buy you lunch, or so. I was like, no, you don't have to do that. Like, one, I'm never in your area anyway. But I was like, I understand, but I was like, no, and they let me keep on buying. Like, I was like, no, I pull up my app and show you, like I've got plenty of money in the line of credit.
Yeah.
But like they actually called my bank and like checked on that account like during the sale.
That's crazy. They stopped the sale too.
I had sold cattle at that auction multiple times before, but I'd never bought anything. And that's probably, and again, it wasn't like I was buying a tractor trailer load of cattle, but I'm sure like somebody because they know most of the buyers that are there every week, and so it's probably a little.
That's hilarious.
But it was kind of like I was like, oh damn, like, and they stopped the sale for like 3 minutes, but still,
and everybody's looking at you. They're like, what's this guy doing?
Yeah, it's like, damn, this was embarrassing. It was like a walk of shame. But
did they say, Robert Lee Hanks, please come up here?
It was something about like that. You know, it wasn't exactly. They're like, they were a little more discreet than that. They're like, hey, they quickly saw, like, could figure out who I was. These things aren't packed, you know, just weekly catalogs.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, can you come down here? And they were real nice about it, but still, it was kind of.
So they didn't do you like me, myself, and Irene.
I've seen that, but it's been so long, I don't know which scene exactly you're talking about.
When he's at the, it's like the convenience store or like a Walmart, and the woman, I mean, he's got like a Snickers bar, and he's walking up there to check out, and this woman's like, Charlie, how are you? And he's like, I'm doing good. Like, he's in his nice mode. And the chick goes, do you mind if I jump in front of you? It's me. I got the kids. And it's like, she doesn't even have a buggy. And he's like, yeah, go right ahead. And she's like, she hollers, boys. And they come over and they got like 2 or 3 huge buggies full of stuff.
Okay.
And he starts like spazzing out, and he turns into his like whatever
personality.
Yeah. And he goes over and he starts looking at her basket, and there's some Vagisil, and he pulls it out, and he leans over and he grabs the mic, and he's like, we're going to need a price check on the Vagisil. He said, she's got some yeast in the oven, and it's sourdough bread. It's cooking. Like, he like says something like that.
I don't remember that exact scene.
So it wasn't that embarrassing.
Probably not quite.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's funny. Yeah, man, you never know. I mean, it's a lot of scams out there today, but
yeah.
Well, to get into, man, I kind of got a diverse set of goals for this year.
That's probably a good thing.
I'm trying to diversify. Are you getting hot? Is that heater kind of warming you up?
I'm good.
Okay.
You want me to cut it off?
Man, it's all right. I was gonna make sure you're all right. So I guess where to start. The first one is, and I've talked about it on the show, I believe, is the farm store. Marcy and I are moving forward with that. I have already put the down payment on it. I've talked to the guy about that's going to do the dirt work on it, and how we're going to lay it out. Moving forward with that, I just actually purchased a pretty cool little piece of equipment that I'm excited to get in. It's a plastic layer that beds the ground up, and then it lays a layer of plastic over the top.
For doing vegetables?
Yeah. I had to buy it it's out of Pennsylvania. That can be our company there.
Right. Stay tuned.
Yes. I won't share the name yet because they are American made in Pennsylvania. And they're shipping it to me. Shipping is actually relatively not bad. Like, it's an implement that goes on the back of a tractor. It takes, the one I got is like the middle size. They got a small, a medium, and a large. The one I'm getting is for 5 to 50 acres. And then they got a big one. They said if you were going to do like 51 to however many hundreds of acres, it's built for that. Yeah. But it's a pretty wicked thing, man. You can install it. It'll have a feeder on it for drip tape, which I don't have any water down there yet. But if I run some water, I can actually, while it's bedding it up, it'll install the drip tape in the dirt and then cover it up with the plastic, and it lays it all down. So I could have water like seeping into the ground right there. But I've got that coming. I'm hoping it'll be here in the next couple weeks. So we're going full bore into that. We're going to get really heavily into the vegetables, pumpkins, probably going to increase the chicken herd pretty substantially. But this weather's killing us because I need the dirt work done. But the guy, he's like, man, I just can't get out there right now.
Are y'all going to like sell eggs? And
yeah, the plan is to sell eggs.
Do you have to have any USDA inspection on that?
I don't, that's something I got to look into. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'll go on the record saying I'm fully on board with
not
flipping a middle finger to the feds. But that's just because that's obviously the big thing with meat. Like, heaven forbid I sell meat to anyone,
Yeah.
That's another rant for another day.
I don't know for sure yet on that. I know, like, I got to looking because it's going to be an actual business. It's going to be a brick and mortar business people can come to and buy vegetables. We're going to have some jelly and all kinds of stuff. And we wanted to have seasonal things as well. Like, during Christmas, I'm going to bring in real Christmas trees. Like that's what I told her. I was like, that'd be cool. We'll have some real Christmas trees. I'll go out and bury them, and you'll come chop them down.
Yeah, pretend like you're growing them right there on the side.
You'll swing and hit it, and it'll fall over.
Which obviously we talked about all the Christmas tree farms, about a month
ago. Where all the murders and deaths and bodies are.
Right, you did throw that in there. Have you talked to anybody about a source for trees?
Not yet. Okay. Not yet. Not yet, but that's definitely something I want to do is have those. And I mean, it's really cool. Sorry, my throat making a weird noise. It's a really cool thing like that. That whole agritourism thing is pretty fascinating to me. Like it's really endless where you can go with it. And that's kind of how we're
do the pumpkins and you can do the pick your own pumpkins and all that. Like,
that's what and people even like to take pictures in the pumpkin patch. Like
yeah.
And that's why I was like, man, I had been kind of looking because going bigger scale like this.
You did the corn maze.
I think we probably will. Like just
eventually.
Eventually. I don't know that we will this year because I'm going to have sweet corn. I'm going to be limited, which I told my wife, I was like, that whole farm, if we want to, heck, we could do whatever we want to do on it.
Yeah.
And we own it. I was like, we can put as much. So, I mean, I might even would do a corn maze across the little creek over there on it. But with that plastic thing, I was like, that would be perfect for pumpkins because there's not a lot of good weed control for pumpkins. And so I was like, man, that'd be great. Lay the plastic down, cut it, and plant my pumpkins. That'd be awesome. So really moving forward with that. And I got a lot of ideas with it. One of the things I want to try to do is, and this will be down the line some, but I want to also have like some of the gear that we've talked about, the American made stuff. I want to sell some of that in the store. Like my buddy Kip with Big Truck Farms. Like I even asked him, I was like, man, I messaged him one day. Now, obviously this, like I said, this would be down the line because I'd have to have an alcohol license to be able to sell beer. There's some sort of license you got to have. And I asked him, I was like, man, would you be up for, I said, I'd like to sell some of your beer in the store. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. I think I think it'd be cool. I ought to do that with some bourbon too. We'll just start making our own bourbon.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that anyway.
Be like a speakeasy kind of thing. And
you might be onto something.
Yeah. Add like a whole level. And plus, then you bypass all the regulations.
That's true.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't actually recommend you doing that, but.
Have you watched 1923?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, they go to the speakeasy there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not a bad idea. No, I've always wanted to make my own whiskey. I jokingly have told some cops that. I'm like, man, one day.
Well, there's, and I don't want to get us too far off, but it's kind of our MO here.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We my wife loves tequila, and
the song about that.
That's what I was going to say. And, I won't say if it always 60% of the time it works every time, but so I like for my wife to like tequila.
That's right.
But anyway, we're in Vegas, and I believe it's at the Cosmopolitan. They have a tequila bar, but it's a speakeasy. And we're getting the hotel, and it's like, we're looking at the list of restaurants and all that are there. And of course, you can stumble into a good restaurant in Vegas, without even trying. But it's like, oh, there's a tequila bar in the restaurant in the hotel, but it's a speakeasy. And it literally it's damn near impossible to find it.
Really?
We're like, what can't it's not gonna be that hard to find. They want to sell. It's clearly legal to sell tequila drinks, but no, it's literally damn near impossible to find it. I remember we walked around forever, and finally we were having to ask somebody,
where is this thing? Yeah.
And so it was kind of neat. I mean, it was kind of I was a little bit annoyed at the same time. So I was like, damn it, I just want to drink.
Yeah. Yeah. You were getting frustrated.
But yeah, anyway.
I was supposed to be in Vegas right now.
For SHOT Show. Yeah.
Yep.
I saw that was going on.
It didn't. Last year, they called and told me not to come because they said it was so terrible. So I just went ahead and was like, nah, it'll be terrible this year. And it looks like it's awesome this year. Yeah.
I'd seen some people post. It sounded like, they were having some pretty good parties and whatnot.
Yeah. I did have to throw in, shout out to one of our local companies there. Had Ads sells Sex Panther cologne.
Oh, real bits of panther in it.
I guess so. And it says on the
60%
I know, yeah.
of the time it works.
It says that on the box. It says
Do
60.
they really?
Yeah, I was in there the other day.
My wife and I got a dinner date this Saturday night.
Well, you need some Sex Panther. The only thing that would make it better, it comes in a little cardboard box. Because I saw it, I was like, well, I'll be damned, Sex Panther, and it says 60% of the time it works every time. But when I opened the lid, it didn't go, it didn't make the sound. But
well, I have got to get that because actually the couple we're going out with,
are they fans?
Huge Will Ferrell fans.
Oh yeah,
so he will get
you need to take
enormous kick out of that.
Yeah. I mean, it don't smell bad. It doesn't smell like pure gasoline. But
that's the thing. Yeah, in the movie, it's like
it smells like pure gasoline. So, anyways,
it's all the pheromones. Yeah.
I almost bought a bottle when I saw it. I was like, man, I just need that.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I might still have to go back.
I'm pretty much like I put it out there now. I'm going to go buy a bottle.
Yeah, you got to get one now.
Yeah.
You'll have to talk about it in your next YouTube video. Your Sex Panther.
Yeah. Try to keep those family friendly, but hey.
Well, so beyond the farm store, that's kind of that is the big push for.
Well, I'm going to put
this year.
I'm going to put you under the gun a little bit. What's the goal? Give us the concrete goal for by the end of 23. What do you want?
Like what? How
do you think? Will the store itself be open? You think?
Yes. The dirt work will hopefully be done around April, May time frame. Hopefully at the latest, and the store will actually they want to put it up in like 4 weeks, but the dirt work ain't going to be ready.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm hoping by this coming fall, I want it to be in full swing.
Have it ready for like the fall.
Yeah, pumpkins. I need it ready. I need it ready.
Your pumpkins and your bundles of corn stalks and straw bales and all that for people's fall harvest, Halloween.
That's right.
Thanksgiving.
That's what I told them. I want it ready and rolling by fall.
Well, I'd say that would be a prime time for like a grand opening. So yeah.
Yep. So it'll be interesting because I have picked up quite a bit of ground, farm ground. I'm actually going to continue to farm the ground I sold. I just found out today in Covington.
Good deal.
Yeah, they're gonna. I'm gonna keep working it.
They're not going to be breaking ground on homes right away.
Yeah. So I'm going to be working a pretty decent amount more. Getting closer to kind of the number that I want to be at to try out, kind of get my feet, see how I handle it. So I'm getting better on the number, but it's going to be interesting figuring out how to juggle because the farm store is going to require a lot of time. That's the thing with the like farm store vegetables and all that, it's very involved. Like, row crop.
Well, just growing the vegetables is fairly labor intensive.
Yeah.
But you're talking about, a little bit of automation with your planting machine that we'll hear more about later. But I mean, just manning the store. I mean, that's
See, and that's
I would say that's 2 or 3 people that even on a just random day. Not even talking about peak season.
That's what we're thinking. Probably have it open about 3 days a week to start, and man, I am about to burn up on that. The heater's killing me over there.
I got you.
Sorry guys, I'm interrupting the flow, but I'm getting a little toasty, which is good. I mean, I'm under the weather, but if I'm getting hot, then I clearly don't have fever. The plan is to have it open like 3 days a week. My wife is actually, with her being a nurse and her schedule the way it is, she's going to try to be up there a good bit. And, well,
and that's a good job. Like, I mean, like young, like high schoolers, I don't know, kids.
Used to be, yeah.
But looking to, get their hands dirty, that sort of thing. And, you feel like manning the cash register at the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something obviously be open like on weekends, I'm sure.
That's kind of what we were thinking. I think like Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, or I can't remember what we were talking about, but Yeah, it'll be several days. And I want to also, the goal will be to even, man, I mean, with anything that I do, I always try to like, I mean, hell, I just dream big. So I'm like, I would love to get us to an online sales place where.
Have like a farm-to-table restaurant.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I told Marcy, I was like.
Hotel, like an Airbnb. Like.
I told Marcy, I said, I'm not ruling anything. And I said, we might have a bourbon distillery out like there.
And I'm not even but halfway kidding, but like a wedding venue.
I mentioned that to her, and she said, I don't want to have to deal with that.
Well, no. I have not talked to people directly who do it, but like you rent out the property, and like you ain't like
you don't have to do the
gotta be like
stuff.
Like if a water line breaks or something like
you
like they're just renting right because you don't want to deal with a bridezilla, but no, like here's the venue, you've got it, you hire your own caterers, your DJ, whatever. Or hell, you can be a DJ.
That's right. That's right. I'll play them some Led Zeppelin and all that. Man, I'll get them some good tunes.
But again, I kind of halfway joke about that. But there's people.
No, I really
like the whole agritourism thing. Like, people love the rustic kind of outdoor feel.
That's a direction I'm really wanting to move into is agritourism. And
I have not seriously looked, but like I've looked at some of our property. Like I'm on a tractor and I'm like, man, it's beautiful right here. I think, man, we could put up a building, like a pavilion. Like people would pay big money to have weddings here, stuff like that. And, and then it's like, the idea kind of.
Well, that's like, I just recently, I looked at a piece of ground that's for sale. I'll take it a little morbid here. This is something Yellowstone inspired. I looked at some ground that's for sale. I don't feel bad about talking about it. Normally, farmers, we're very quiet about some land that's potentially for sale because you have to be these days. But this farm is like, I don't think it's going to work out. I'm actually pretty sure that it's going to be considered all wetlands, which means you can't do anything to it. And
is it currently farmed?
No,
okay.
No, never been farmed.
Okay.
But I told my wife, I was like, man, it'd be a great place. If you killed somebody, you could dispose of the body. I was like, that place would be great. I was like, that's exactly where I would go. Like, it's like going there, you actually, the road you get on to drive back to it, it just doesn't exist. Like, you drive, I mean, I was in like a part of Shelby County that I never had been at all. And it was not that far off the beaten path, but then you turn on another road. Dad was with me and Brock. We turned on this one road. I'm looking at my GPS. And I'm like, it's showing to go right here. And we turned on this road, and it was like progressively getting narrower, and there was like a torn down building, or a shack right here. And I'm like, man, looks like some dude's like probably lives in that thing. It was trash everywhere. And I'm like, I don't know about this spot. So we backed up and we found another road and we got back there. But when we were riding there, I was like, yeah, if I was a murderer, this is where I would dispose of a body. Yeah. Like I think you'd get away with it down there. Yeah. So I was like, hey, I could charge people to dispose of their bodies. Start up a different.
That'd be straight cash.
That's right. I've had enough of this government red tape. So I'm going to just go a different route. But no, it is truly unlimited. Like the venue, Airbnbs are surprisingly doing, like, the surprising to me, they do really well around here. Like, I know some people.
There aren't any, I mean, there are very few. I mean, we're not a huge, like, tourist area.
Well, that's why it surprises me. Like, in Brighton, I know a person that put one up out there, and they said it's booked, like, every weekend. Yeah. The other cool thing I've thought about.
People, like, we're going to a softball tournament in BFE, Mississippi. Next month, like in March. And, like, it's like some tiny little town. I've never been there. I'll report back here in a couple of months. But, like, it looks like, for all intents and purposes, it's not much. It's about like where we live right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing there. It's like, it's not on the coast or anything. But there's a softball tournament. Well, rather than us stay at, like, the Motel 6 or whatever, like most people are doing, now they have like 2 hotels in town. I think they were pretty much booked anyway. My wife looked up and like, she found us an Airbnb. And who knows, we may get there and it may be a total rat hole. But, but like, it looks really nice. And it's like, heck, it's basically the same price we would pay for a hotel room.
If it's got good ratings, it's probably solid.
And I was like, well, heck yeah. And she's like, and it's like, just as close to the ball field as
the other.
I was like, well, heck yeah, book it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, you just like, all right, yeah, let's stay at the Motel 6.
It's easier,
the Holiday Inn Express. And like, no, like it's a tiny little town. And
did I ever tell you about the Scottish Airbnb that I was trying to get Marcy to go to?
So in Scotland. I didn't even know you had a trip planned to Scotland.
I don't now. I don't. I was trying to plan one. I've always wanted to go to Scotland. I mean, it's no secret. Braveheart is between Young Frankenstein and Braveheart. Braveheart is my favorite. So I'm a William Wallace fan. And I
had a patient yesterday. And my patient's name was Freedom. And like,
what? Like, what a name.
Well, and the guy, and actually, this guy, he's military. And so very patriotic.
Yeah. Oh, wait, the dog's name is Freedom.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the dude. I was man, what a name.
The dog's name is Freedom. But I had to fight the urge as I walked in the room to not yell, Freedom.
Yeah, man, I would have had a hard time. Yeah. I'll have to ask who it is when we get off here.
He would have gotten a kick out of it. Like, he would have loved it. But I was like, all right, I'll keep it professional.
Well, that is a great name. And I thought you were saying for a man. What a name for a man. Freedom. Yeah. You'd have to join the military or something with that name.
If you decide to have another kid.
Freedom.
Yeah.
That's what I like it. Freedom Curtis Hanks.
Male, female, non-binary, whatever.
Yeah.
Freedom works.
Yes, it does. Well, I was trying to book, gosh, it might have even been before we had, I don't remember. No, it wasn't before we had kids because it hadn't been that long ago. But it was probably 2 or 3 years ago. I was just looking at Airbnbs and I was like, man, I want to go to Scotland really bad. It was pre-COVID. But I found a castle on the Loch Ness where the Loch Ness monster is supposed to live. Like, it's they call it Nessie, but it's a ness. I never realized this, but a ness is just a lake basically in Scotland. Yeah. And it's the Loch Ness. And there's a castle that's it was like a 50,000 square foot castle on the Loch Ness. And you could book the whole damn castle for it was like $600 a night on Airbnb. I mean, I get that's still $600 a night ain't super cheap, but I was like, for a damn castle.
Yeah, but I sleep's 30.
Oh, yeah, you could have, and I was like, it was going to literally be me and Marcy. And Marcy was like, there is no way that I'm staying in a castle on the Loch Ness with just me and you. And I was like, why? And she's like, that sounds terrifying. She was like, I'd be terrified to be out there. And I'm like, come on. But I was crazy. I was blown away at how cheap it was through Airbnb.
And see, I know people that have had bad experiences using Airbnb or VRBO. Like, you just show up somewhere and it is a rat hole.
Yeah.
But and I don't travel all the time, but we generally kind of go to that as our first option.
Yeah.
And I've never been just super disappointed in somewhere.
I don't know that I've ever used one.
We've used them quite a bit.
VR,
we're going.
We've used that VRBO.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
it's different, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's what we've used, and that's what I figured it was the same. Well, now I've looked at a lot of Airbnbs, but definitely was really hoping she'd be down for the Scottish castle, and she was like, nah. Which it would be it'd be kind of creepy. My luck, I would get there, and it'd be some dude lurking in there in some secret rooms or something. I'm sure you'd have to hear some stuff in a castle,
Yeah. Oh, some creaking and some echoes.
Yeah, especially knowing that you're on the Loch Ness, man. I mean, but I don't even remember how. Oh yeah, Airbnbs. That's something I've thought about that. I was
I kind of knocked us off the rails.
Well, no, it all just goes hand in hand with the agritourism. That is the direction I'm wanting to get. I want to continue doing row crop because I love doing that, but I'm wanting to also expand into the agritourism.
So having the farm store open by fall of 23. Okay.
Yep.
I think that's a solid goal.
Yep. That's the big one. Also going to continue to put more farms into cover crop. I'm just going to keep pushing it to cover crop.
Well, give us a goal. We got to have a percentage or an acres or something.
By next year, I'd like to add about, I'll say another 250 acres into cover crop.
So what would that total acreage be for cover crops.
Oh gosh, man, I'd have to bust out the calculator.
I'm just saying, so we can put an actual figure to it.
I would like to have about 1,000 acres in cover crop after next year.
Cover crops
total. That includes what I got now plus what I'll add.
So 1,000 total acres in cover crop for the winter of 23-24.
Yes.
All right.
Because see, currently I don't have any in Shelby County enrolled because it's a little more. It's not as handy as dealing with our Tipton County and RCS.
Because you get cost shared. They basically reimburse you for your seed and the trouble you go to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And which, and I've mentioned before, that was one of the funny parts when I went to NRCS and I was like looking at the mixtures and I'm like, what's the good ones? What is the benefits? And the dude was like, he was like, you're not just up here to see which one you can make the most money off of. And I was like, oh man, I'm like truly interested in the cover crop. And he was like, my God, like it was like I was afraid he was going to kiss me. But no, I mean, he was like, man, nobody.
Well, see, I got to ask you who that was off the air.
Okay.
I know those guys.
Yeah. Oh, he was absolutely, he was like, wow, man, nobody ever is actually interested. They're only doing it for the money.
Most people are up here just farming the government. Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
How can I get the biggest rebate check back for?
That's exactly what they do. They're like, what programs can I do that I will just get paid? And which I was up there.
There's still benefits to the ground to doing that. But it's most people
they're not doing it for the betterment of the ground. They're doing it because
that's not the primary reason they're doing it.
Yeah. And it was funny when I was up there, I had to go up there and actually to pick up a check the other day for the cover crop. And it was me and another farmer in there at the same time. And one of the guys that works there came through and he was like, the only way we can get you freaking farmers to come up here is we got to pay you to come up here. And we all just started laughing. But I guess that'd be my big goal. Always a goal at the end of the year for me going into a new year is just to survive to farm another year. So that's like always another one.
I mean, hey, that's, when it really comes down to it, that's where, and again, I've spoken a little bit on here. I've spoken with several people here lately about, I'm turning 40 this year. Like it's kind of really just punching me in the face. That's happening. And it's just like, when I really think about things in the grand scheme, I feel like in a way it's giving me better insight. Cause like I step back on some stuff and I'm like, that I get worked up about. And I'm like, what does it even matter? Like I'm going to be worm food here. Hopefully it'd be another 40 or 50 years.
Yeah. If you make it like your other grandpa, like we said, gosh, you might have another 60 years in the tank.
But yeah, I mean, like it, really in the grand scheme of things, there's going to come a day where I'm going to be, worms are going to be munching on me. And so what think about things that really matter. But,
well, that's where I always am I try to think about, what is the legacy that I leave for my kids? Like, what am I going to leave for them? And, I mean, that's one thing for me, like going into this year, I would like to purchase more land. I don't have I'm just really open to any. If I can find the land and I can get the financing, I don't care what it is. I'll go for it. Like I want a certain size. I will say, I don't want to say I don't care.
Abandoned like Walmart.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna. That's gonna be the next agritourism. I'm gonna
open up like a flea market,
an indoor petting zoo,
indoor flea market,
Yes, but no, even if it was, I would say preferably, I'm looking to purchase probably about 250 acre block or more is what I'm on the prowl for now.
Well, if it happens to be like pasture ground that's already fenced, I know a guy that might rent some pasture ground.
Well, and in my latest video, I talked about one of my latest videos, I talked about how well pasture ground that's converted to row crop ground does.
I saw that, yeah. Which we could leave it in pasture ground, and I'd pay you like $30 an acre to rent it.
I did just read today, and this is not new news, but I was reading no-till farming or farmer. I follow them, and they had an article up talking about how good it is when you graze cover crop. That's the plan. So yeah, you run that crop through an animal, Yep, they crap and
comes right back at them. The end of them. Yeah.
Which I got to show you a clip real quick if I can find this before we get to the last part. Pierce Morgan is normally a moron.
You know, he goes back and forth. He's one of those. I mean, hell, he's like everybody. Nobody's all good or all bad, but yeah.
Well, he goes hard on this chick. She's a vegetarian. Oh, here it is. All right. Let's see here. I want to sync it up on this thing so we can get the quality really good.
Bluetooth her in.
Yeah. But he is typically, very, very questionable to me. Ted Nugent ripped him to shreds. It was over gun control. But, come on now. Where's this thing? I got to find this on here and get it paired up because I don't know who the chick is, but she was like a vegan type, I guess, activist. And the gist of it is she's essentially blasting people that eat meat because they're destroying the environment.
Right.
And he goes, man, I mean, he goes like...
Pierce Morgan does?
Yeah.
I do want to hear this.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
I think maybe this is
I saw a good clip today. It's like, do you know what the hardest part about being a vegan is?
What?
Not telling people about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be the same as like a CrossFitter.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, here we go. This is pretty darn good.
Do you believe in the climate crisis?
Yes.
Farming and fishing is a leading cause of the climate crisis.
You know what's also a leading cause of climate crisis? Planes which carry vast amounts of your avocados and your almonds from California and fly them thousands of miles to your table here in your vegan cafes. Okay. And then they also go in trucks. And that is an environmental hazard too. So you're not only are you killing billions of bees, you're destroying the planet. And yet you have the brass neck to sit here in between munching your almonds and your avocados and start preaching to me about how virtuous you are about not killing animals and saving the planet. You're not going to persuade me. And my response to you, destroying all these things, is to have a Big Mac.
Well, we're asking for the government to support farmers. Do you believe
Well, yeah, the whole, right. Yeah, and she didn't even target animal agriculture, which maybe it was more nuanced than what was just in that short clip. But
yeah.
Like farming is killing the planet. Okay. I mean, I won't even say you're wrong.
Yeah.
Let's stop farming. And let's let, 98.5% of the planet starve to death.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe a few of those people learn how to farm. So let's let 96% of the planet starve to death. You cool with that?
Yeah.
Like, I think you can make that argument, but then you also got to be cool with the fact that,
Maybe they are,
That's where it goes back to, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but the whole thing where it's like, what is agriculture, when we talked about it, accounts for like 10, 11% of greenhouse gas emissions.
Yep.
Like, kidding me? Like,
but
of all the industry out there, like, agriculture is more important than just about any of them to survival, and we account for 1/10 of the greenhouse gas.
They might be okay with that, though, because they're also usually staunchly pro-abortion. So maybe they want a bunch of us to die.
Right. Well, and like, if they have that opinion, like, I would disagree with them.
Yeah.
But I would say, okay, well, at least your opinion is rooted, like, in fact and science, and that, like, yeah, like, we just need to let everybody starve to death. We need to go back to the population of the earth being, a fraction of what it is now. Okay,
that's what Bill Gates wants to happen.
Yeah, I'm not fully convinced one way or the other on him. Like,
yeah.
The only thing I'm fully convinced of is I don't care what he thinks.
Me too.
I care about as much what he thinks as any other guy I pass on the street on any day. I mean,
yep. You got our
guy was apparently a brilliant software designer, and that's where it begins and ends.
Well, that's like, why am I supposed to care about my favorite actor? Is what he says I need to vote for? It's like, why do I care what he says I need to vote for?
He does a really good job of playing a role in front of a camera.
Yeah, he's an entertainer. He's not a political advisor.
That's where it begins and ends. Same way with athletes, anybody. Like,
we start off with 2 words: made in America.
So the company today I alluded to already, they're called Rainflow Irrigation. RAIN FLO irrigation. And like I said, they're based in Pennsylvania. I was looking here, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. It's been serving the farming and gardening industries nationwide for over 38 years. We enjoy helping our customers grow lush, healthy vegetable crops while conserving water. And they got all kinds of, it's pretty awesome.
So you said Lancaster the same way I would. But
how are you supposed to say it?
I think
Lancaster?
I think the Yankees say it that way.
Oh, man, they're Yankees, though.
I actually went to school with some Yankees, but from that general area, and it's Lancaster. Yeah, they
interesting.
They like remove a syllable, like they turn it all into.
That's that lazy Yankee drawl.
Yeah, we draw it out down here, but I went to school with a guy that was his last name. That's the way we say it. It was Lancaster.
Yeah, Lancaster. Yep.
But it's Lancaster.
Lancaster. It's too fast.
I guess they still have like the English accent when they say it.
Yeah, they have their tea and crumpets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that it's the thing. Like I said, they make quite a few different things. Now, obviously, this is a pretty specialty item. Most of our listeners are probably not going to get on there and order what I just ordered. It's not crazy expensive. I'm okay with saying like you can get one for, you're talking around $6,000.
Yeah.
And you can upgrade it. You can spend quite a bit more. You can spend less.
Well, right. You talked about they had a smaller model.
Yeah, they got a smaller one. Like it was for, like a less than an acre up to 5 acres.
So my garden, I'm like a 20 by 30. Would it make sense for me?
You should probably get the biggest one they got.
Okay. I've usually got 10 to 15 plants in my garden, maybe a row or two of sweet corn.
It would be pretty hilarious to see you using one of those on that. Like that would be pretty comical.
It's like my dad's got the tiller that mounts on, 3-point hitch, PTO driven.
Yeah.
It was always hilarious for me to use that to till up my garden. It's like literally you make one pass, you turn around and you have to overlap.
Yeah.
Make the next pass.
Yeah. No, that
I no-till my garden now, man.
Of course.
I'm full of.
Oh, I see. And people when you get into the vegetable thing like this, I will be doing some tillage. People are going to have to just get over it.
I'm kind of joking, but I really have tried to kind of no-till my garden.
Yeah.
I'm throwing all my compost from my house out
yeah.
there.
Well, no, that's great. Well, to use this thing, I've got to
spray the hell out of it to burn down everything.
Natural organic chemicals.
Roundup is, I don't use the name brand stuff, but generic glyphosate is
Cornerstone.
Yeah, Cornerstone or Glyphor or whatever it is.
Agristar.
Yeah.
Glastar. Yeah.
It's made of chemicals. That by definition is organic, right?
Yeah, it's from the earth. It was created on the earth.
It's made of carbon. I think that is the definition of being organic.
Is that the definition of being organic?
I think technically that's where I always get a kick out of people using the term organic. Because I'm the OG definition for organic is just
made of carbon,
composed of carbon. I think now it's been many years since I've taken my organic chemistry. Yeah,
that's one I missed out on.
Feel proud that you have, because I enjoyed it so much I had to take an extra semester of it.
Yeah. Well, I do. I'm happy with that. Well, all right. Oh, did you look it up?
Well, this is one of the definitions. Actually, this one does not include carbon. Of, relating to, or derived from living organisms.
Well, that's pretty broad spectrum.
So I don't know, that may not.
A living man probably composed the chemicals.
That may not technically include glyphosate. But
gotcha.
Oh no. Here's, I think this is going to be the original. Of, relating to, or containing carbon compounds. Yeah.
Well, that's organic.
If it's got carbon, it's organic.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. It's organic. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Leave us a rating and a review. As always, reach out to us, talkdirtpodcast.com. Let us know what you want us to talk about, anything like that. And DM either one of us on Instagram. We always will respond. And, just reach out to us. We appreciate you for tuning in.
Yeah, no, it's 23 is gonna be exciting. I'm excited for you, man. I want to see it.
I'm excited to see where this goes. You know, I told Marcy, I said, you know, the thing about this, I said it could go as big as we want it to.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, again, a half-ass joking about the wedding venue and the Airbnb, but like that's not stupid, ridiculous. Like,
oh, I mean, when I mentioned the distillery, I'm not even
it's really
joking.
as busy do you want to be?
Yes,
you know, on that stuff, and like, and how, yeah, I mean, how, you know, ambitious do you want to be? And
that's what I told her.
The big thing I worry about is like getting the labor, like, because obviously, you know, hell, you're still row cropping, you're trying to, you know, if the store is booming, then like, yeah, adding even just like an Airbnb, like a tiny little cottage, you know, because a cottage sounds very rustic.
It does. It does.
Like just somebody to keep it clean and straight. Like, yeah, you got to hire people to do that.
I told her, I said, it is something that the legs are there to where in all reality, it could get to a point where I'd have to say, I'm going to have to stop growing the farm store, or I'm going to have to cut back on row crop.
Yeah.
And I'm not, look, I like row crop, and mainly I like the equipment, all that. I'll probably always row crop some of what I own, but I'm not opposed. If I find that I'm like really having I'm like enjoying this farm store and that kind of avenue, I wouldn't be opposed to cutting back to focus on it.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
But yeah, it'll be an interesting year. That's for sure.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all listening and watching, and we'll be right back here next week.
Catch you next time.